All right. Yo, my people, welcome back to another episode of the Out Here podcast. I am your host, Jay to the Izzo, and I'm joined by...
Mids MB, you know what I'm
Got
saying?
a special guest today.
Am I introducing myself? What?
Would you like us to introduce you?
Let me know, innit? I'm down.
Alright, cool.
I think you should introduce yourself.
Yeah, go
Cool.
on.
I'm going to do the all formal thing, right? All right, cool. So, Sayce Holmes-Lewis, mid-age mentor. No, I'm the founder and CEO of Mentivity, but I'm a product of the Aylesbury estate, proudly of the Aylesbury estate. I founded Mentivity 6 years ago. Really passionate about young people and providing opportunities for them to flourish and signposting towards their dreams, really. 39 years of age, 40 this year, big 4-0. Yeah, I look 30. I don't care. I look 30. Anyway, but yeah, I'm just trying to create a legacy, you know, through Mentivity and provide support and just passionate about my community.
Yeah, I can definitely vouch for that. This guy's helped me so much in my life already, and yeah, just looking forward to whatever comes next. But yeah, welcome to the Out Here podcast.
Thanks for having me, man.
You on.
Appreciate it,
So
man.
what we usually do to start off the show, we do like these things called hit blunts. So they're just like little things to get you thinking. So
Okay.
just say the first thing that comes to your mind,
Yeah.
whether you think is dumb, smart, whatever,
Yeah.
and then we'll just like talk about it for a sec.
All right, pressure.
I'm actually looking forward to this, you know?
This guy wants to stitch me up.
No, that's what we all do. We all have like dumb
100%.
clips that do well. Okay, so the first one is, if you stand 5 feet away from the mirror, aren't you technically seeing yourself 10 feet away? Let me read that again because I messed up at the end.
Yeah, technically.
If you stand 5 feet away from the mirror, aren't you technically seeing yourself 10 feet away?
Technically, you could say so, but
Wait, how would you see yourself 10 feet away?
because if you're a mirror image, but
Yeah.
that's the depth, isn't it? So if you want to be technical, then yeah,
Yeah.
you would be, but that's where the image starts at the mirror, so it's still 5 foot.
Wait.
Yeah, because it's flat, so it's not actually...
Oh,
the
so
depth
then the
that way.
5 foot in a mirror doesn't actually count.
No,
Yeah, right.
because
Yeah.
there's no depth.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not in the fourth dimension.
But at the same time, you are viewing yourself... Actually, no, you're right.
Wait. Yeah, it's just 5 foot reflected, isn't it?
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
physics, man. This is
Oh,
long.
okay, yeah, I hear that. Just, last week
you
you had a
got me.
mirror one as well. So it was good that you wrote another mirror one today.
Some people would say yes, though. I know that. And
Oh,
then they'll get
100.
ripped.
Yeah.
Not me. Anyway, I know you're gonna stitch me on the next one. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm trying... Oh, no, it's upset me now that you've gotten that so...
you didn't tell him about me.
No, 'cause I was assuming that you would like be thinking about it, but you got that straight away. That's annoyed me now.
If you don't have another one to test them, I got one in the bank.
All right, I'll read one more that you can read your one at the bank.
All right, cool.
Okay, so people who take naps are brave. Assuming you're gonna wake up twice is very, 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 very audacious.
So I take naps.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm a cat napper still. I'm a power nap kind of
but don't you
guy.
think like it's a blessing to even wake up once? Like, you know, people who die in their sleep and stuff, not to be too morbid.
Oh, so,
Oh, no.
So we're taking a nap.
Well, you're taking it deep, right? You know, like not even waking up to have a snack. You know?
so it's like playing chance. Like, you know what? I like my odds this morning. Let me
Yeah.
try again at 2 p.m.
Them ones, no, it doesn't work for me. Like I will sleep because I don't really sleep that much. So
yeah,
I do 5 hours, maybe 6 hours max. So if I sleep and but sometimes I just wake up because I'm always thinking I've got things to do. So then I'll wake up. Like this morning, like I went to bed at 12 a.m. or 12:15 a.m. Set my alarm for 5:30. I woke up at 5:16 because my mind was like, "Sayce, you got a big day. You got to do this." So
That is crazy.
yeah, subconsciously.
Well, your mind's just racing.
yeah, I'm
know,
always doing something.
That
so.
happens to me when I have a day off. I'll be trying to sleep till like 10 or just be, one of them lazy days.
Yeah.
And I'll be up at 7:50 thinking, I have nothing to do today.
Exactly. That's it. Your brain's playing tricks on you, man. That's what happens. So midday, come on, you're gonna try and stitch me up, yeah? I'm ready for you,
All
man.
right, cool. So the next hit blunt, is technically you can never stand backwards on a flight of stairs.
Right.
So I'm gonna say that again.
Technically.
Technically, you can never stand backwards on a flight of stairs.
Of course, you couldn't because if you're going up, then you're going up. If you face the other way, then you're going down because that's the way you're facing. So technically, you couldn't be. But if you were really struggling in terms of your reality,
We read
Wait.
that again. Sorry, read that
so
again.
so look, if I'm going up the stairs, if I'm walking up the stairs, right?
Yeah.
So I can't be going backwards. I can walk backwards,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't be going backwards technically because I'll be going down the stairs.
So, okay, if I walk up the stairs
Yeah,
and I feel like I've dropped something behind me
yeah.
and, I turn around.
And take a step. No, you're not taking a step back though.
No, but I turn around.
Yeah.
Does that not mean I'm standing backwards whilst going up the stairs?
But what's backwards when you?
Yeah, how do you stand backwards? Sorry.
It's relative, right?
What do you mean? How do you stand backwards?
Yeah, how do you stand backwards? Like I'm asking.
Like with your
Okay, if I stand on the first step,
Yeah.
I'm facing forwards.
yeah.
If I turn around, I'm still facing forwards.
Yeah, you can only be flat.
Because you go up or down. Like no one walks up the stairs like that. If you do that, then
Yeah,
you're
fair
a cyborg or something. Like because
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
so
fair
technically you can't. But I assume if you were high, you would be like, well, yeah, maybe.
To be fair, these are what these things
Yeah.
are for. I thought
That was contentious still. You know that people have a good 3-hour conversation about that
100%.
and then go and try it.
I really thought I was gonna get this guy with that one. You know.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
Damn.
I got experience,
you
bro.
know, let me read you one more. No, okay.
This is going to be a whole hour of hit blunts.
How many sides does a piece of paper have?
How many sides?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the thin sides? So that would
No,
be 4 sides?
No, I'm not giving you
Technically, okay, so technically it will be 6. Because you've got
Wait,
2 sides
what?
of the paper, then you've got the 4
He's right.
sides.
He's right.
It's 6.
He's right.
He's right.
Yeah.
How is it 6 though?
Because it's not
Okay,
actually
one side
flat.
of the paper, so one side, 2, and then the 4 sides, 6.
Oh.
It's really thin, but it still counts.
Yeah.
Oh, is it like how a circle only has one side? That sort of thing.
Okay, I'm going to go now.
This
I
guy-
won, yeah? I
this
won
guy
the game,
came and
right?
Damaged all the blunts.
I'm not gonna lie. If it was a point competition, you've won.
100%, yeah.
You won.
No one's actually ever gotten all of them.
Yeah?
Yeah, 100%.
I like to be the first.
Damn, we got to give him something for that, you know.
Sorry, think of him later. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
Think of something later.
So you know, do you know what it is? That's actually going to be the new challenge. If you guys can come on here and conquer the hit blunts, you get a prize. We'll reveal what we gave him.
So the prize is going to be dinner of my choice.
Uh,
This guy, he's got me, you know. This guy's always fresh. He's always fresh.
Yeah, do you know? Cool. That will run. That will
Yes,
run.
and we can film it, yeah? All right,
Yeah, yeah.
document it. All right, let's podcast that.
All right, cool. Yeah, that's the new thing. If you guys can jump on here and get all the hit blunts. I ain't gonna say I'm buying dinner for all you guys, but the ones who do,
Don't worry, we're gonna come with serious ones. So
100%.
no one's gonna be just getting it.
Do your research, lads.
I'm probably
Exactly.
gonna get into my science fiction bag, all of that stuff.
Bro, honestly. But cool. Yeah, that's the hit blunts section done. My goodness.
Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I don't pay attention to that guy. He's mad.
You
He
think
talks
he's
about
mad?
inequalities, and this guy's a billionaire. Like, it's mad. He's a
Well,
madman.
he-
So
well,
what's
he's
going on
actually-
with Elon? What's
He
going on?
donated 6 billion to help tackle world hunger, I think.
Oh,
I think that's
yes.
But it costs 20 billion to do that, at least.
I think it was when he said that if he shows, what was it he had to show? Like his like his tax or something like that, right?
Oh no, what they actually spend their money on, because you know how we spend a lot of money donating to charities, so they're saying, oh, let's actually see what you've been putting this money towards. So that's what he was asking for. But yeah, he's actually done and donated 6 billion.
But who's he donated it to?
Exactly. Where's it going?
Let me read this out.
Because I don't believe this is okay. I might sound a bit controversial here, but this is why I don't necessarily believe in a lot of like donation charities where they're just asking, like, you know, the whole give water.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie yet. I'm not even trying to make this sound funny, but you've been using the same child for like 2 years.
Yeah,
and you've had
standard.
those. Do you know what I mean?
With
Like,
the same fly on the face. Yeah,
it
and
makes
I don't like that.
and that's not even how it is.
Yeah.
Like,
nah.
yeah, it's just mad. And I think even a couple of years ago, Bill Gates, I think, what did he do? He surrendered like 30% of his wealth to charities, whatever.
Supposedly.
What's
I don't
going
believe
on?
none of these guys. You think
Yeah.
they're going to work so hard to acquire this money, then just give it away? Come on.
But I think after a point, it's not even about the money. Like, I think,
I mean,
because you know how in this world, credit really and truly is the most powerful thing you can have. So, like, someone like Jeff Bezos, to think that you can take out a loan and Jeff Bezos is going to pay you back, you're going to want to give him maybe 100 million, because you know he's going to pay you back because he's got the mentality where he can just make so much money and generate so much wealth in this world.
Credit don't mean nothing to these guys, man. They just.
So I think they don't even care about the money. It's just the fact that they can spend more money
Mm.
and take out more credit and then go to space and do all these crazy things.
Listen,
even that whole going to space stuff is mad, you know.
That is very selfish, you know. Because
Oh,
they
100.
say it's for humanity. It's not for humanity.
it's crazy. Look, you're going to talk about you exploit people, and then you basically went to space on the backs of that exploitation.
Yeah.
And your Amazon employees are looking at you like, okay, you've gone up to space, and yet we don't get the minimum wage. Or
Do you
give
know
us
what's funny about
healthcare.
the whole space
That's
thing?
actually
Is
true.
that they're not actually, he's not, you know how they say, oh, it's for humanity, because that's where they get government grants and all that stuff. You say it's all for humanity, but really and truly, in space, look how much minerals and all that stuff that they have to tap into. They're gonna be. They
They're
say
gonna
the
be
first
stinking
person to go
rich.
to space and like actually conquer space, quote unquote, is gonna be a trillionaire.
Yeah, well, they
But
conquered the Earth.
Do you know what I don't understand though? So, all right, so with the whole planets, yeah,
Mm.
if Jeff Bezos goes to Mars and says, all right, cool, I'm gonna start digging these Mars
Yeah.
rocks and all the other things and getting the minerals, like, bro, are you even allowed to do that? Like, is there like,
Technically speaking,
Who's gonna stop you?
yeah, like technically speaking, everyone on the planet owns the moon and all those other planets as well. Technically
wait,
speaking.
what?
Like, I was not gonna lie, I was going deep into this, into the whole space thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
technically speaking, we all own a piece of the moon, but obviously not all of us can go to the moon. Do you get what I mean?
So we
let me
just
pose.
surrender.
Go on. So let me pose this way: we live on Earth, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Where's our land here?
yeah. That's another question.
That's actually so true, you know.
That's another
That's
Come on,
so
don't listen to
true.
these people, man. It's fantasy.
No, but
man.
you know how it's like sea law. Like, you know how in the sea,
Yeah.
technically speaking, certain countries own this part of the water and this part of
Yeah.
the. It's like the moon. Technically, the whole world is in countries own all of the moon.
Oh, because it's like in our orbit or like that.
yeah.
Right.
So
Oh,
technically
okay.
speaking, so if he goes to Mars, technically he has the right to dig up whatever he wants.
See, now this is how, yeah. I know this might sound controversial because again, it's either
We'll
aliens.
bleep
or...
if it's too bad.
No, it's not bad. It's just
So,
bad. It's like a thing of like if people believe in aliens. Do you believe in aliens?
I believe there's something out there,
Says.
Well, we're here, so why is there no other life?
but I don't know how developed they are. That's my thing.
You mean how developed? We're underdeveloped.
No, but I don't. Yeah, but maybe it's ego. But maybe what if we're the most developed?
I doubt that. You know,
I
I highly
highly-
doubt that.
I don't know.
In
I
that
don't
big
know.
thing called space. Come on.
Bro, do you know how many? You know, there's bare man you've come across, whether that's college or uni. You're like, how is this guy even still here? Like, you've done so many risky things in your life, yeah, and you're still here, fully functioning, surviving.
Yeah, it's mad.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with evolution?
Cool.
Have you watched that film? You know, man. Have you watched the film Don't Look Up?
I need to
No,
see
not
that.
yet, not yet.
Watch Don't Look Up. It's literally what you just said about colonizing space and being the first, and there's an asteroid coming to the Earth, and then the billionaire's gonna save and has no clue. Literally, it showcases the crazy side of humanity, but which is actually the real side, and we're just in a really insane period of time. So watch Don't Look Up, and all the things you said, you're gonna rationalize it in a different way because they don't care about us.
Yeah, but
Oh,
what
100.
is crazy though? What is crazy?
I think
It's outside of the norm of rational thinking people, that the fact that people are dying and not eating food here, but I want to go and fly into space. And if you've got money and you're going to give 6 billion to end world hunger when it's about 20 to 25 billion, you wouldn't be a billionaire in the first place, because what do you need all that money for? It's
That's true.
psychotic. Having all that money is extreme capitalism.
And I think a
Psychotic.
lot, like a common misconception of a lot of people that I see on like, you know, this is a bad source, but a lot of people that I see on Twitter and whatnot, whenever they're talking about billionaires and they're like, oh, why doesn't he just like take his money and do that? But not a lot of it is actually like the type of money like we have in the bank where it's like, oh, I open my NatWest and if I'm a billionaire, there's like 25 billion in there. It's not actually like that.
It's
A lot of
usually
it's
tied
like,
up in stock.
It's
or
accumulated wealth,
property.
isn't it?
yeah. So that's one misconception that a lot of people think. But back to my point with the aliens, yeah. See how if Jeff Bezos starts mining on Mars and that, this is how in those movies it'll become like one alien invasion.
So you believe there's Martians? I don't think there's.
See now,
In our galaxy, I think we generally are the top of the.
maybe not
Future.
Martians, but other, you know, other, I don't know, Plutonians or whatever, whatever you want to call them, innit? Other people out there, if they were there, how would it look if you saw one other alien flipping mining on the moon or something like that? You thinking, what's my man doing over here?
It depends though, like, and the thing is, it's the same thing, colonization and doing the things that they've done here. You've gone to other countries, you've taken over other countries, and other people just been like, okay, well, we can't really put up a fight. You know what I mean? So they might be the same way. You never know.
Yeah,
But
and the way they've developed, like, you know, it's in our it's generally in our nature to hate each other, love each other. It's generally in our nature. So what if it's not in their nature to be like, why are you taking our land? Da, 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 da. What if they're just like calm with it, like, or they don't even care? They don't feel threatened.
Bro, I don't know. You know, I've never actually thought about aliens until this conversation. No, like big man thing. I don't actually.
I don't even know how we got here. Elon Musk.
That's what Elon Musk. Innit?
People call him an alien anyway. So.
Listen,
No, he just has
Didn't he name his child like
he just has autism.
like
He's not-
XY?
That's what people say he's weird.
Didn't he name his child?
Yeah,
like XY
I
something?
don't know what is how to pronounce that name.
It's like a line of code or something, isn't it? Because he had it was that with his girlfriend of his.
I don't know about all that, but I don't keep up with his life.
Yeah, I don't watch these billionaires, to be honest.
Yeah.
Speaking of money, do you guys think money can buy happiness?
Depends what you define as happiness.
That's
So
true.
I wouldn't say yes, because I don't know what it's like to be a billionaire, but I wouldn't be happy. being a
But let's not
billionaire.
even just say a billionaire.
No, I'm just saying a
Yeah,
millionaire.
yeah,
Like, I'm saying billionaire because that we were on that topic, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't
yeah.
like to do that, knowing that people are dying because they don't have certain things.
Yeah.
So I only try to accumulate money to do the things that I do to provide, yes, for myself and my family, but to also provide for others. If I'm not doing that, then I'm not a human being.
So you don't really believe in like conscious capitalism. Like you don't believe that, for example, if you made $1 billion, even though it does kind of sound like you'll have a savior complex, you don't believe if you made $1 billion, you can't like just distribute it after.
I'll just continue making more money to do good things. To be honest, I wouldn't hoard the money. That's psychosis for me. If you can hoard money knowing that people are going without, that's psychosis, because I feel bad when I walk down the street and I see a homeless person and I don't have any money to give them. If I can have money, I'll give it to them because I can go and earn that £5 or £10 back. You know?
But what more so I'm saying is that if you have, let's say over 10 years, you just go crazy and you just make $1 billion, for example, and then you keep flipping that billion, and then in 20 years, you generally have enough money to solve all the problems in the earth. Like, you can fund everything that can help everyone.
You'll
You
never have enough money to solve all the problems.
not all the problems, but let's say, for example, survival problems.
All right, let's try
Like,
and
you won't
make
be
it-
able to not make people depressed and all that stuff, but at least no one will die of hunger, no one, all these things. People have shelter-ish.
Let's
to a certain
probably
extent.
say not the world, but in the UK. So it's a bit more on a smaller, realistic scale.
You can't, because the thing is, you got balances within humans. We're flawed, so there's always going to be an issue. You could have everything that you need, and you're still going to want more. It's human nature. So you can't. Money doesn't buy happiness. Happiness comes from within. Like, no one can make you happy. Only people can supplement your happiness.
Yeah.
You have to be happy within yourself, your skin, so that someone can supplement that happiness. And I think that's the mistake that a lot of us have, that we think, oh, I'm going to get with this lady, she's going to make me happy. No, you got to make you happy, and then she will supplement your happiness.
Damn, this guy really spin facts.
It's true, man.
I agree with
Listen,
that.
this
Yeah,
is
no.
a lot of heartbreak, you know. So.
So man, be watching this with a girl. And be like, I don't even like you, anyways, bro.
No, but sometimes that's what it is, you know, like you see your dream girl, like let's say for example Instagram, you finally you move to her, you go for all of the games and you get her. Then
Wait,
like,
you see, I go to all of her games.
no, like you know sometimes you go through games like
Okay. Oh, sorry.
so it's like dating games, like
Yeah.
she's got this and then that. You go through all of that and then you're just like
That's human nature.
life is just like you still have to live on with this person or
That's true, to be honest. You know, with the money, like, kind of money buy happiness, I don't think, like you said, I don't think it can actually buy you happiness. But I think for a lot of people, it can give them the freedom to be happy because they won't have to worry about a lot of other stuff.
That's very true.
You get?
That's
So-
very true.
That's what, if I had $1 million, I can guarantee I would be, on a day-to-day basis, a bit more happier because I won't have to worry about, oh, you know, I need to pay for that, or, you know, my mom wants this,
You
or
can
my
take
sister.
different risks.
Yeah.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? Everyone around me and things that I can control can be okay, which will allow me to be happier and be like, oh yeah, I don't actually have to stress and worry about X, Y, Z. Do you get it?
But the thing is, you can have all the money in the world, and you go into a shop, and you can still be followed by a security guard because you're black,
100.
even though you got enough money. What happened? It happened to someone the other day, didn't they? They went to buy something. I think it was Jim Jones, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just like cussing about how they were treating him, but yet you're still spending your money in these stores that don't like you.
And that's my not to bash our community, but sometimes like I don't know if you guys remember in like 2015, 16, all these like high fashion companies, they were doing like clothes with nooses. Like they were doing things that kind of
With nooses?
no, it was wild. It was wild, and there was like clothes that kind of goes back to like slavery times, and then we'll get outraged.
Oh, I know
And
what
then-
you're talking about.
I don't know why. I felt like there was a
Yeah.
spike in us buying those stuff as well.
It's just,
It didn't make sense at that time.
I don't think it was a spike in us buying it. I think it's sensationalism, and that sells.
Yeah, because like I feel like bad publicity generally does do well because
Bad publicity is good publicity.
yeah,
100%.
because at the end of the day, these companies, for let's say for example me, right? Technically speaking, I can't afford to have a wardrobe full of Gucci, but now that I've been exposed to it, I could donate a whole paycheck just towards Gucci or donate all of this to that. So
Nah.
yeah, I didn't really like how
Even they were doing the whole boycotting of Gucci, like when the Game, Lil Wayne, all those American
That's
rappers.
a wild list of guys.
No, but
Because
you know-
but I hear you saying. Go ahead,
Yeah, I
go
mean,
ahead.
when they were like saying, "Oh, we don't rock Gucci anymore,"
Mm.
all that sort of stuff, and then it was like a year later.
They were all just
They're
back
rocking
at it.
Gucci.
But that's
again.
the thing is that's one of the problems that we have as Black, Indigenous, African people, whatever you want to call ourselves, that we are very flash in the pan when it comes to those movements. We boycott certain things. It's just very temporary because before that it was H&M. Remember the hoodie with the boy, the monkey hoodie and all that stuff, and everyone's still buying H&M. So it doesn't make any sense. Zara, same thing. There was a controversy with Zara.
Oh
Yeah,
no!
yeah,
Don't
so-
talk. Oh, what happened with Zara? I just
Yeah.
bought a jacket from Zara.
It doesn't matter, man. Like to think anything that you buy is going to be
Yeah.
conflicted because of what some of these companies do. So I think it's difficult. We got to create our own stuff, you know. Can't depend on this. Like Gucci doesn't appeal to me. I don't buy Gucci. I don't buy nothing. Like I've only bought a pair of Pradas once, and that was in 2004. Haven't bought them since. I won't buy a pair of Pradas. I won't. I'm not on it. I just don't. It doesn't make me feel any better than me going to Zara or going to Gap. Like I just like to look good. As long as my footwear's good, I'm good to go. So you looked at my feet. So,
That's
That's natural. That's an end thing, you know.
this guy tried to check me, you
No,
know.
I saw you got a rush. And I was like,
Crap check,
fair
yeah.
enough,
Yeah, listen, it's the OGs, bro. Yeah, for the
That's the
OG.
first thing I do. I look in someone's eyes and then I look at the shoes.
All the time.
100%. Well, the shoes say a lot, you know. Shoes say a lot.
Determines how I'm gonna treat you. Not treat you as a person, but like whether or not, if it's dirty, then I'm like, okay, I know your values right now.
And I think mine a little bit scuffed at the front. Long day.
Yeah, but do you know what it is? You're a grinder. You work hard.
Yeah.
So it's not even a thing where it's like if you come with shoes like that, it's like this guy's a bit unhinged. You know what I mean? You know when you see
But
some
that
people-
can tell, that
you know
can
when
be
you
a
see someone's
sign.
crepes and they're dusty, like it's just
Yeah.
like the back is peeling.
Even my coaching trainers are decent. So
Yeah.
nah, not on that.
That's that's another thing. I think we definitely build our own stuff and that. But
We have to.
see, this is okay. This is the last thing I'll say, like related to this sort of topic, and we can move on. But you see, with a lot of Black-owned businesses, I was saying this to my friend the other day. It feels like Black-owned businesses, for all the quality it gives us and like all the pride it gives us, saying, "Oh, this is Black-owned," whatever. It feels like most of the time we have to sacrifice like
Customer service.
good customer service or good like refund, like the whole policies, or do you know what I mean? That sort of stuff. When things go bad, it's like it goes really bad.
But at the same time, to give these guys a bit of leeway, because I'm 100% with you, but to give them a bit of leeway when it comes to scale. So, for example, H&M or Amazon's the best example. Amazon, you can get a refund and they don't really need to check what exactly you've done. Like, they don't need to check if you've actually sent back the product in a good manner, all that type of stuff. Whereas these companies, the margins, if you don't send the refund back properly, or they'll just rather you keep the product and they just keep your money. That's their best case scenario, so they can keep scaling up. So that's something we kind of critique our community for, but at the same time, it's like because we're small.
But you know what it is with that though? We hold our own people to a higher standard than we do these companies.
But that's like Black people in general. Like, that's why sometimes I don't like saying, I think I've said it before, I don't like the concept of black because it's like, I feel like some of us are playing a character. Like, for example, we don't dress the way we want to dress because we don't want to seem like, oh, look at these niggas or whatever, or we don't want to do this and do that because we don't want to seem like, it's like we're all playing a character when we can't really like be our true selves. Like, that's why I don't really like the whole concept of being black. Well, not be. It sounds like I'm being anti-black, but I don't like the word black.
Yeah,
I prefer someone calls me Nigerian rather than black.
Yeah, because that's who you are.
Okay.
You're, it's a construct, isn't it? Black is a construct, and black and white are both constructs. Which is, you go back to Virginia, 1690 when it first came into law. So black is a construct. So even that, using that term, I agree with you. Using that black is like, it's overarching. It's a monolith. And like, we're all black. We've got the same culture. No, we're not. Like you said,
That's
you're
true.
Nigerian. You know, I'm of African descent. I know that. We're all African. You know, we're indigenous to this planet. We're the first people on this planet. So I understand what you're saying, and I think we need to move away from those terms of using black and white, because that is a hierarchy of race, isn't it? And that's what creates racism, because there's supposed to be different races, but there aren't different races. There's one human race. The oldest people on the planet are us.
That's actually true, you know.
The cradle of Africa, East Africa, so the oldest remains are found. So we're the first people on this earth. I would say we're indigenous to this planet, and we're not minority. We're the global majority.
Yeah, and I hate. It's just
Do
certain
you know,
words.
Can you say that again? Just because I think some people had their volume on 4. I wanted to put it on 10. Do you understand? Can you just say that one more time, please?
We are not a minority. We are the global majority.
Oh, yeah, that's. I feel like that's gonna be one of the titles.
Because that's like, and it's a way to like, what's the word? It's a way to program us as well. Because sometimes when you feel like you're a minority, it feels like the ability to succeed is so unlikely, and then now you're a small number of people as well.
Yep.
Makes you feel like you're alone when really you're not.
No,
Exactly,
because there's
like-
power in numbers, isn't there?
100%.
And if you know that there's more of you than, you know, other people, then you know, well, okay, we can overpower them. But it's all about the thinking. It's very, very interesting. Even when you look at the map, as we use the, is it the Mercator map at the moment? So the Northern Hemisphere, all the countries look bigger than the Southern
Yeah, I've seen
Hemisphere.
something
Yeah.
about that.
But that's not, so the true size of Africa, you can fit the whole of Europe, Africa, USA, South America, all into Africa and still have space.
Yeah. That's
So
crazy.
this is what they do. So subconsciously, we think that we're the minority and that those on top in the north are superior to us because we're in the third world or developing countries.
It's actually so
developing
crazy
world.
because when I found that out, I actually went back and I was like, this doesn't really like. I was rattled. I was like, what the hell? How can they even do that? But then I actually went back and looking at old maps. I was thinking, somehow, like every decade or two, you just get a bit smaller
Yep.
and a bit smaller. I'm thinking, but it's not shrinking.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was just so rattled, and I think that's just like, yeah, it's just very, very crazy, and it makes me feel a way that I don't really like to feel, in a sense where it's like, why do they keep making it seem like people from here are just a bit?
Because it's about a small-minded mentality. If you feel that you come from a small country, talk about superpowers and all the language, you know, all the language.
That's why I say America is one of the best marketing machines of all time. Because to think that they're the best at this, best at that, when their problems in the UK, I don't feel we can handle their problems in terms of always being at war with Russia or always having gun problems. Like,
Bro, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. America's too big to be one country.
yeah,
It's way too big because the way people think in the South compared to the North is completely different. Even when you compare the likes of people that you get in Texas to New York, it's so different. And then the fact that you can have like federal law and then state law that contradicts the federal law, it doesn't make sense. Like, it's like us having a law in London and then in Birmingham it's a different rule. So when someone from Birmingham comes to London and commits a crime which is legal there, it sort of, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you're
It
saying.
just doesn't make sense to me.
yeah,
That's by design, though, in America. That's by design. It's confusion, and state power is different than federal power and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
look, America, for me, there's a lot that needs to happen in America, but it won't happen because division sells in America, race sells, everything is racialized
Yeah.
in America. So, yeah, America is not really the gold standard for anything. Democracy, government, nothing.
Yeah.
Just, it's a bit nuts.
And the way they make it, seem like in the movies where it's like,
well, the movies they make.
yeah, okay, yeah. The movies they
That's
make,
a very
yeah,
important
yeah,
thing to remember
the
as
movies
well.
they make, where it's like they go into this country to like save them or you know, spread democracy or
When
whatever.
they save the world, it's really just that country. It's really just America.
Exactly, like you destroyed 10 countries to save one city.
That's where it is. That's white savior, isn't it? White
Yeah.
savior approach, and that's where it is, and that's what they program into the minds of so many people. So, yeah, we could go into so much of that, but
Yeah.
it's crazy.
I can't remember what we were really. Money, bad happiness.
Something like
Somehow we
that.
ended up.
But yeah, I think the next topic we were going to talk about was we're going to go more towards like a mental health, and especially in men as well,
Yeah.
because I think recently there's been, well, I can say this every now and then, but within like this coming months, there's always been like a new thing either on Twitter or Instagram, and it's sort of like showing people take the piss out of someone who's suffering.
Yeah, I think there was a thing where it was like when Tyrese was having problems with his wife,
Right.
it became a meme. Kanye having problems with his life, like having bipolar disorder, it's become a meme. All these people breaking down. Michael Jordan finally celebrating an achievement that makes him feel accomplished. It becomes a meme, like black men just becoming memes of actually showing emotions and all that type of stuff.
And I don't know. I feel like a lot of people say, a lot of people do this thing where it's sort of what you're talking about earlier when you're saying playing a character.
Yeah.
A lot of people say, men, you don't speak up, you don't do this, you don't talk about your feelings, blah, blah, blah. And then when we finally do, start calling us, what do they call us, beta males or
they'll just say you're gay.
simps or you're gay or
Yeah.
like shut up, like who wants to hear men talk or whatever.
Mm.
And I'm just like, but you the same people that are trying to say we should talk more and express our minds. And then the one opportunity I'm like, you know what, like I'm doing a little turtle thing. I'm like, okay, is it safe to come out? I want to say something. Is it safe? You come and bash me. Do you think I'm ever gonna come out my show again? Like it doesn't really make sense. I don't know how do you guys feel about that?
Yeah, mental health. I'm a real mental health advocate because it's so important and it's something that we haven't focused on as men, as black men, and as a community. You know, mental health is very taboo, especially in African and Caribbean households. You go to Africa and it talks about, you know, people, oh, they have an out of body experience or they're possessed or blah 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 because you got mental health. Same in Jamaica, same in Barbados, same across the Caribbean. And I think it's something that we haven't normalized because to be seen as weak in a world which continues to oppress us, you can't do that. You know, my grandparents wouldn't show their emotions, but what happens is it consumes you, and that's why we have such you know high levels of mental health in our communities. And you know, young people that you've worked with and you've gone to school with who really struggle with mental health because we don't openly talk about our trauma. You know, our racialized trauma being a hostile environment in this country. We don't actually routinely sit down and talk about our feelings because I would be like, oh, you're soft or you're moist or all these different things. And that's what we've got to normalize. You know, my son's 15 and I try to encourage him to speak about his feelings consistently. Even my mentees, you know, talk about your feelings. Tell me how you feel. How do you feel? I've had conversations with him, with Midday as well. So it's so important that we've got to normalize it, but we've got to have people that are seen as masculine to showcase it. Because, you know, the problem I have with celebrities showcasing their feelings on a social media platform is that anybody can see it. It's not a safe space. So why would you do that? So in your right mind, why would you put that video out? Which shows that you're not quite there mentally, that you've actually got to pay more attention to your mental health and actually work on that mental fitness and really work at it. So
see, that's one thing I've never understood. Like, I feel like a lot of people in our generation is like, and I don't even like saying our generation or this generation because there's just a whole lot of rubbish that comes with that statement. A lot of bad connotations to that. But when people say, I've lost my point now. Oh yeah, sorry. When people go through something, like something terrible, and then they come on Twitter to tell the world. Like
no, but for some people, that's their way of expressing themselves.
It is, yeah. So unfortunately,
like,
they don't have the people.
To me, it's just weird. Like, why would you you've gone through something traumatic? You clearly feel bad about it. You're in that state where it's like emotions are high. Do you know what I mean? And you've come online to Twitter or Instagram to come and I don't like.
But that's the way people vent, because a lot of the time with social media as well, sometimes like you don't want to tell your friends because you don't want them to look at you as weak and then start treating you with sympathy. For a lot of people, that's how they go through things. So you just give it to random strangers,
which doesn't make any sense.
But for some people, a random stranger could just give you the answer. Or sometimes
that's a good point.
They just do it like just because like they just want to get, because sometimes when you have something that's traumatic on your chest, that could be terrible. So just getting it out there anywhere, whether it's writing it in your notes, putting it on Twitter. I would agree, putting it on your notes is probably the most healthy way.
It's hard though. It's hard. Like I lost my gran on Saturday, just gone. 87. Listen, no, thank you. It's 87. It's a great innings. She came here from Barbados as a teenager, and she's given me the platform to do what I'm doing today. And unfortunately, I would love her to be here, but it was her time, and I have to accept that. But for me, with that situation, I decided not to put anything out on social media because I haven't even processed it yet. No, I haven't processed it yet. So I think a lot of people are not processing feelings and thoughts and actually putting it out there. And then when they get that negative response, or they might get a bit of a positive response, it can then decide where they go with that emotion, with that feeling. And I don't like giving up that kind of power personally. So I don't think, I mean, I've been in therapy for 2.5 years. Yeah, so nearly 3 years in May I've been in therapy. So one of my mentees, Raheem Barton, was shot and killed on the Brandon estate on the 5th of May 2018. I'd known him since the age of 8. And that was really the impulse, you know, the catalyst for me to actually say, you know what, I need to get some help, because I wasn't sleeping, I was struggling. And I love that young man, you know. He was involved in negativity, and ultimately that's what ended up. And he was
talented at music.
Yeah, apparently people say that.
I was a fan.
Yeah, a lot of people say they were, but I knew that guy from when he was 8-year-old going to Keyworth Primary School, you know. But yeah, it's difficult, and I've been on that journey, that mental health journey, for the last 3 years, and it's been fantastic. You know, I know more about myself, and I would embrace more black men to embrace in therapy with a black woman therapist, because they can understand how it feels to some degree, but also you need that balance.
But I think a lot in our community, obviously, it's starting to be less of a taboo. But I think also in our community, we have this thing where it's like going to the barber shop, right? Like, not every barber can give you a trim, but not every barber's gonna give you the trim that will make you look your best. And you can't just go to the barber shop once and expect your trim to last for life.
Good point. Love
So I
that
think
analogy.
with therapy, a lot of people think, oh, this person from another culture is what all therapists are like, and they just give up after that type of thing when they actually have serious issues.
I've been there. The first time I actually embraced therapy was after I nearly lost my life twice in 3 months. I was 22. And it was really difficult, man, because it was actually a black woman, but I wasn't ready to do that. I wasn't ready to open up.
Yeah, that's another thing. You have to be ready.
Yeah, I had PTSD, but also I knew, I was self-aware enough that if I gave her too much information, then I could potentially be immortally, like some of my friends who ended up immortally. And I was like, I'm not going to end up in those mental institutions by opening up. So I decided to suppress it. And what happened is that started to grate at me for many years. I tried therapy another couple of times. It was a white lady, I think a white guy. It just didn't work. So I just left it. When I was ready, I opened up and I found the right person for me, and I stuck at it, like you said. I wasn't ready before, but I was ready to make changes in my life because there was a lot of traits that I hadn't really addressed. So I really had to work on myself. But you just got to stick with it. It's just like going to the gym. You can't go to the gym one day and bang weights and you're like, all right, cool, I'm ready. Like, it takes time. You know, it takes time.
I think a lot of people with their trauma, they just want it to be gone. But sometimes with trauma as well, like, it's like you have to learn to live with it and allow it to not be a toxic trait that keeps affecting you.
Depends on the level of it.
Yeah, and obviously it depends on the level, but I'm saying more so like sometimes something mad will happen to someone and then think, I need to get rid of this pain. Yeah. And then they just can't get rid of the pain with therapy. But sometimes with therapy, it's just a case of just learn how to live with it and deal with it type thing.
It is. I think it's coping mechanisms, isn't it? And different thresholds. And that's the key thing, is that once you understand yourself to a higher degree, then you know what your threshold is. I know if I don't work out, then my mental health is not going to be beneficial for me in terms of what I do. You know what I do, you know, on a day-to-day. And I give a lot to people. And sometimes I don't get things back. I don't expect it. But I know by working out and making sure that I supplement my own happiness by doing the things that help me, going to bed between 10 and 11, maybe 12, getting up at 5 to 6 a.m., you know, every day, working out, going gym, or doing... My little hashtag right now for this year is do something every day. So do some little bit of fitness or health or well-being every day. And I've been banging it out for the last 6 weeks now. Every day I've done something. So that's what you've got to realize. Once you tap into yourself, then you can actually say, right, this is for me, that's not for me. I can deal with this, I can't deal with this. So that's what we need to be, is more self-aware as men, I think.
So, okay, on that note of therapy, how, because you said it's almost 3 years now that you've been in therapy. So how would you say, if there's someone out there listening now or even watching and they're thinking that, you know what, I've actually gone through a couple stuff, but I don't really know how to get in touch with a proper therapist or whatnot, because I'll be honest here, last year I sort of enrolled myself in like a talking therapy because I was like, you know what,
I've used that as well.
let me actually try it out. But obviously lockdown, it wasn't in person, it was over the phone. And it just felt a bit like, you know, like old school Catholic churches where you're there in a confessional box and you're talking to the... It just felt very
Even
weird.
that was our old therapy, kind of. Just be able to empty out your thoughts. But now people use Twitter, but... Sorry.
Some.
Yeah, so like when I tried it, it was over the phone and I was just like, yeah, the woman was like somewhat helpful, but I couldn't stick with it because for me, over the phone, it's just like, I don't really trust conversations like that over the phone personally. So,
and they say it's recorded at the start and all that type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's long.
Like, do you know what I mean? I'd rather do it face to face so you can like...
It stays in the room.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's how it should be, to be honest. And I totally understand, but to access therapy is a lot easier than you think. So you've got Black Minds Matter, which is a charity. You can find them on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah, so Black Minds Matter, fantastic. And also, there's a website called the Black African and Asian Therapy Network. So it's just literally a short list, a database of Black African Asian therapists, and that's how I
Okay.
found my therapist. So literally, you get their profile, you see a picture. I was like, okay, I'll try you. I'll try you, and whoever responded, you then do like a taster session, and then you actually just talk to them and see what it feels like.
Yeah.
And for me, the lady that I was dealing with felt totally right, and I've just stuck with it. And she's been amazing. She's been very imperative to my recovery, should I say? You know, because I've been
Okay.
dealing with things for a long time. There's a lot of things from childhood that I couldn't really put my finger on, and the experiences that I buried. That's what you do with trauma as well. You bury
Yeah.
things, and that's a really default thing. So it took me 30 years to make sense of some things, you know.
Yeah, because sometimes you have a problem, but you can't articulate it to your parents or to like your friends, but you know it's a problem, and you
Yeah.
know like it's eating away at you. So when you get older, it's good to like expand your vocabulary, read more books, like just learn different things so you can
Yeah.
be able to actually say this is the issue, this is how I'm feeling, whatnot,
Yeah, definitely. I think one
and hear
thing,
others' experiences.
one
Yes.
thing since lockdown that I've been big on is reading a lot more books,
Mm.
because I always found it a bit weird. Like in primary school, for me, it was a thing where we used to have like a little, like a library corner in like pretty much every classroom, and I think probably every term we're supposed to like go and get a book from there, or maybe even 2 books, whatever. Read it, talk to your teacher about it, whatever. You get a little gold star, etc., etc. But then since I left primary school, yeah, I probably hadn't picked up a book unless I actually needed to, unless it was like of Mice of Men or
Yeah.
them things there. And then during lockdown, I actually said, you know what? Yeah, let me get back into reading, and I found myself being able to just explain things a bit better. Like not necessarily use bigger words or
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
but just having the ability to say no instead of shutting down and saying, okay, cool. I just
Comprehension. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, it's important, but you know what it is? The books that we read when we were younger were boring.
Oh,
Because we had a lack of access. We didn't really have the books that the level of books and access to books that we have now. Like I can go on Audible and download any book I want and listen to it. You know, I'm listening to Natives at the moment by Carla, but
Oh,
I've listened
that
to a
was
lot.
good.
Yeah, fantastic. Listen, that Black and British. There's so many different books, but even books around mental health. You know, accessing that. And just to go back to your point around mental health, we always think about accessing a therapist when things go wrong.
Yeah.
It's not about that. It can be when things are going right in your life, because you know one thing, when you're in that room with your therapist, it's you and that person, and you're accountable for what you say, because it's just you and them.
Yeah.
So when you go back that following week, okay, so did you break up with that lady? No, I didn't manage to do it.
Yeah.
Okay, and in your mind, you're like, no, I got to prove to this lady that
Yeah.
I got to do this. I got to prove to my therapist that I got to get rid of this lady out of this toxic, traumatic relationship so I can progress. And it's holding yourself to account, and it can be for positive things as well. And I think everybody thinks about mental health as a negative, but it can be a very positive thing. I still go when things are going great. And I'm like, yeah, things are good.
Sometimes your ego just needs not to be checked, but it's like maybe you know how sometimes we don't actually look at things from the right perspective.
Yeah.
Like we view of ourselves too well or too bad. So sometimes maybe if your ego's on the too good side, you just need to
Come back to earth
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
in a bit sometimes.
Yeah, it's important. It's important. So, yeah, I mean, going back to your books as well, like books, they say if you wanted to hide information, anything from black people, put in a book.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of people don't read because it's not designed to stimulate you because of the books, because there's a lot of white literature.
But also at the same time, it's like in our community as well, in terms of the class system, it's not, if a book's not helping you to survive, why am I reading it, man? Like, why would you read something when you've got bills to pay? You would rather just do a skill that will help you, or
You can do.
So
It depends on
so that-
motivations, isn't it?
yeah, because for me, I read books for leisure, so it's not like I don't read it to survive. But I feel like for someone who can't afford to, who's struggling to live and struggling to survive,
Yeah.
they won't have that same luxury to just sit down, read the book for an hour or two. Because in that hour or two, they could be making money to put food on the table.
Yeah, true.
All that type of
It is
stuff.
difficult. It can be a hobby and it can be an expensive one, but it's an important one because reading underpins everything that you do. You need to understand certain things, and even like your Apple phone or whatever, there's terms and conditions, contracts. So it's a good habit to have, but we mustn't try to access books, and we're doing that at Mentivity now, Mentivity Book Club.
Yeah, I saw that.
So we're actually trying to recommend books for people to read, and then we can meet up and just talk about the books, because we don't do that. And there's a lot of black literature out there, which is very, very important for us, and a lot of seminal texts that we should be reading. Like I said, Natives by Carla, Black and British by David Olusoga, they came before Columbus. Ivan van Sertima, a Guyanese, academic, fantastic book. It talks about the African presence in the Americas before Christopher Columbus. Read that book, blows your mind, and you realize everything that you've been taught is a lie. It's a lie.
Yeah,
so we must
definitely.
read. It's so important.
Damn.
Those are the
Do you know,
bombs,
I'm actually thinking now that because I saw the Mentivity post when he did the book club, and it was like, I think it was like who reads, like yes or no, how many books, all that sort of stuff. I was answering the polls, and I was like, usually, like obviously it's Mentivity stuff. I'm like, okay, cool, yeah, we interact. But I was like, I'm actually good. I should probably go to this book club. Yeah, man. Where you see a post, and it's like, obviously, like us, you know me. I already said it. I support Mentivity, everything. They have a new initiative. I spread it.
He's always there.
Do you know what I mean?
He's always there.
So
it's been important. I mean, like seeing your progress has been fantastic, and your testament to what we've done at Mentivity. So for those that don't know, Bide was one of our first Mentivity mentees.
Yeah.
Actually, number 3.
Oh wow.
Yeah, you were the third one. Remember, because of the 2 brothers. I want to name them, but the 2 brothers. So, and you were the third one. You're our third ever Mentivity mentee at your school.
You know that Drake move. We built this.
This guy, I'm so proud of him and what he's done, and I'll always support anything that he's doing, and he's supporting everything that we're doing with Mentivity as well. But it's just showcasing what can happen when you take your time out and give that time to young people. And this guy's flying right now, so I'm extremely proud of him, man.
And it goes back to the happiness question of
this
money
guy's
buys.
this guy's trying to make a black man blush.
Who's cutting onions?
Jeez, every time I'm out with this guy, he always gasses me. Remember when we had that police thing, and they were asking, so what do you do? I was like, I'm an apprentice. Guys like, no, so what do you do? I was like, I was something about it, you know what I mean? Like,
but sometimes you need people to gas you up. Because I'm that type of person. Like, I wouldn't really boast too much, but I've done something that's
boasting,
not normal.
though. It's not boasting because
but that's how I view it.
I hear you. I hear you, but no one expected us to do the things that we're doing. No one expected him to be a software apprentice when he was, but now he's progressed. But I expected these things from him, because I hold him to a higher standard. And if he's not on point and not putting in the work, like you wanted to play professional football.
Yeah.
We asked you the simple question. How many times you train in a week, bro?
Okay.
And I said, bro, and I didn't shut down his dream. I said, it's not realistic with what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, this is what you need to do. And then he was like, you know what? It's not for me. This is what I'm going to do. And he changed his whole life around, because all we did was give him that time, allowed him to make the decisions. And if he made mistakes, we were there to pick him up. And that's what we call guided discovery at Mentivity. It's so, so important. And, I'm just, as I said, so proud of you and what you're doing, and I will support everything that you do as long as it's positive.
You can't just tell the person I support you and everything. You need to make it abundantly clear. This is conditional love.
I'm calling Sayce, hey bro, I can't lie. I'm in Nottingham right now. Like these guys are on.
But how you getting back?
Let's get the whole. I want the proper interview, the Mentivity
Yes,
interview. How did it start?
Oh gosh, yeah.
Because I was watching your interview with Chizo, so I know. So, but I just wanted to know, how did you start it? What led you into wanting to start it? And
go back a long time. I'm the oldest of 7, so there was a lot of responsibility on me to be the role model and be the oldest. But I had a lot of trouble between 8 and 14. When my father left the household, and we have a good relationship now, but I was just really distraught and I was heartbroken. I didn't know how to deal with it, and he was in and out of my life, and unfortunately he didn't provide me with what I needed. And now talking to him, I understand where he was coming from, and there was a lot of pressure for him, and it just didn't work out for him as a father in my formative years. So I came across 2 men, Abdullah Ben Kamal, people know him as Ben, who founded FC Gentilly as well as Bethwyn. It's not Greenhouse. Greenhouse came later. Bethwyn Football Club, which I was in the first team for Bethwyn Football Club. And Abs just gave his time to me and really mentored me through football. And then there was another guy called Mr. Devon Hanson, who obviously Midday was his head teacher. He was my head of year at Kingsdale. And they just gave time to me. You went to Kingsdale? Yeah. Come on, man. Come on. It's like a giant episode of Blue Story every day. Trust me. But no, seriously, those men, and there was another guy called Stan Etheridge, who was my coach at Thamesmead Town. There was a lot of men that gave their time to me, as well as men in my family. But I realised the power of mentoring then. And I started working and coaching young people from the age of 16 because of Abs. Abs pushed me to do that because he's like, you know what, you're a very mature person. You should be doing this. Always push me like I push Midday. And that was an inspiration for Mentivity, and also my mum and the family that she created, you know, and education, the importance of education. So I've been working in the community for 23 years. I've been a football coach for 23 years as well. I've coached Jaden Sancho, Reece Nelson, all those guys, Adamola Lookman. But I've given my life to my community, and Mentivity was really born out of that. Had 2 redundancies in 2013 for Southwark, then 2015 for Greenhouse. And I was like, no, I'm done. I'm ready to do my thing. I'm not going to let other people have power over me. So I set up Mentivity, used my redundancy money, and that was 6 years ago. So 6 years I've been self-employed. Mentivity's gone from strength to strength. Some of our senior partners, Goldman Sachs, is our major investment partner. 125k a year.
Really?
6-figure deals.
Yeah. You know, it's mad. But you know what? Like even today, I just came from an event with Goldman Sachs and Hogan Lovells with Amani Simpson. So you did the film Amani, and we did an empowerment event with 15 young people from across London. And for me, it's now about pushing Mentivity, creating a legacy, but bringing young people closer to the careers and things that they want to do in their lives. You know, and just like Midday, he just needed a little push, and that's what young people need because they're so segregated and isolated from society because of us, because of adults.
It's positive reinforcement
And
sometimes.
One thing I want to say, I think I even said it at that meeting where I gave a little speech, and it's a thing where, for myself, it wasn't a thing where I was in and out of the streets or I was selling drugs or, do you know what I mean, doing that sort of stuff. It's not those sort of people that are the ones that you say, oh yeah, I need to pick up these people. It's also the people that are around that, because obviously I came from the Arsbury estate, you know, like yourself.
AY,
You know exactly what goes down on those estates. And it's a thing where if I was slightly unhinged, it wouldn't have been hard for me to get into that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I want to say that I am grateful. Like, Sayce knows how grateful I am for like Mentivity. Not only him, but like Leon, Tyson, everyone involved in Mentivity for what they've done for me. Because at that moment in time, I was in a place where I was like, bruv, school's looking long. This school don't even like me. Do you know what I mean? They're calling my mum every other week. They're saying, oh, you're going to get this, you're going to get that. Remember that French lady, Miss Davies, telling me I'm not going to amount to nothing, bro. I'm thinking, shut up, man. Do you know what I mean?
Look at me now.
Exactly. Do you know what I mean? So
Sounded.
it would not have been hard for me to take a completely wrong turn in life. Do you know what I mean?
It's easy for us though, because there's so many critical junctures and things that happen to us that lead us to that road, and people don't understand it's a process. When we talk about serious youth violence, it's not youth violence, it's violence. And where do we learn that from? It's adults. Like everything that young people are doing is modeling what older people are showing them.
That's the way you handle your problems.
That's it. That's it. And it's violence. We have a problem with violence, but also we have a problem with teachers that are in education telling people they're not going to amount to nothing.
I think
You should never be a teacher.
Yeah.
100.
There's this thing called the Pygmalion effect, where it's like, when you first meet someone, you're probably going to treat them the way you first, like, your first impression of them.
Yeah.
So, like, for example, let's say someone's smart. As a teacher, you might be like, oh, well done, yeah, thank you. But then the person you like, you'd be like, well done, I'm going to give you this after class. And sometimes, as, like, black people, we get the negative side where it's like,
100%.
you won't get really rewarded.
It's not even sometimes, bro. It's like 85.6.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I remember my maths teacher in year 9, he didn't like me. I'm not gonna say I was an angel.
I need to know who your math teacher was.
I can't remember his name.
Oh, was he a black guy?
No, it's white.
Oh.
No, all my black teachers, they believed in me to a certain extent. Whether we loved each other or not, they believed in me to a certain extent. But this white teacher, like, I was in a smart class, but I was like at the bottom end of the class. So instead of, and I'm the type of person, when I look back at school, whenever I got positive reinforcement, I tried, because I was like, I don't really want to let this person down. They believed in me, whatnot. But this guy, when I say he had no faith, like when I got a D and everyone got a B, he was looking at me like, well, it's Jude. So it's it was that's the type of snarky comments. And the thing is as well, at that age, like now, if you said that to me, we would have been cussing each other. But that then I would have I accepted it, because it's like, he's a smart guy in maths. He probably knows something I don't. And then I went to go take on A-level maths. So if he had just believed in me,
Bro, that's exactly like me, fam. Obviously, I'm not gonna say I was like the smartest kid or whatever, but I was quite smart in it. A levels, I was like, all right, cool, this will be all right. You know what I mean? Did maths, physics, computer science. When I was failing physics, the first teacher I had, I can't remember his name, but he was definitely white, and he was just unbothered. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was a thing where it was like, if I turned up a bit late, the guy would just look at me and be like, just go sit down. Or like, if I'm not doing, do you know what I mean?
Low expectations, though, and that's
that as well.
that is also
really
racialized, and that's where you get the conscious biases in teaching as well, because they have low expectations of you based on the stereotype that they have of the community. But you're there as a teacher to encourage people to learn. And if you're not doing that, then you shouldn't be in teaching. And I've been saying this for a while now. When I work in schools, the problem isn't the young people, isn't the children, it's the teachers.
Because children can be molded.
To a
certain extent.
To some degree. But like, I showed these guys respect when I met them. I gave them my time, and then they respected me. A lot of teachers don't show respect; they demand respect and don't give it. And when they're wrong, they never apologize to young people. So they're like, okay, so then you're not going to apologize. So why are you telling me to apologize when I got something wrong? You're a hypocrite. And when you call them out for it, oh, get out of the class, you're excluded. So a lot of teachers within education shouldn't be in there. There are some fantastic teachers out there, don't get me wrong. But some that undo so much work.
It's
so
not
much.
really about knowledge or what degree you have. It's more so about people skills as well.
Oh,
Exactly.
1000%.
Because a lot of teachers are just like shitty people.
Yeah.
Like, when you come down to the crux of it, they're just not good people.
Yeah.
So you can't. Yeah. It's
But,
just a bit-
but the thing is, like, I've worked in education now since 2006. Yeah. So that's now 16 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I got into education, I was doing things that I shouldn't have been doing in my life. But I was showcasing to young people that this is what you got to do. You know, I've never sold drugs, nothing like that. But I was making money in a way that I shouldn't be making money. But you know how it is on the end. You got to survive. It's survival mode. So you got to make money. Like, but the fact of the matter is that when I was in that space, I was the most positive I could be for each young person I interacted with. And I worked in pupil referral units, and I've got young men that still remember me from 2007 to today. And now they're coming back into my life like, oh, sir, I need your help. And, you know, I'm 20, whatever now. And I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm here. Because they know that I did it out of love.
Yeah, because it's more so about character. Because for me personally, when it comes to like drug dealing, I don't necessarily think it's in you're a bad person if you necessarily drug deal. But there are some people in like pharmaceuticals in the big corporations or you don't actually have to be degenerates, but they're degenerates by choice. But like what they saw in you was that you had good character and you had character that they respect and wanted to see in themselves. And that's why they came back to you.
Yeah. But also it's just being genuine. Like, I'm real. Like, if a young person gets me mad, I'm going to let them know. You know what I mean? And it's the same thing because it's sometimes about that disappointment, but the disappointment with the emotion behind it, because I care about you. I don't want you to make those mistakes, and you've got to articulate that in the best way. I remember one time I came in to school, and this is how it was with me. And I was still learning. I was still a young person. I came into the pupil referral unit on a Monday. I just got a fresh trim. I was like, yeah, feeling good about myself. Got there Monday morning, like, yeah, what's going on? Yes, sir, you got a fresh trim. Yeah, oh my days, probably looks sick, looks mad still. I'm like, yeah. Now your trim's dead. About 8 men started laughing. Listen, you know, like the way my face was switched, I was thinking, are you mad? Like, and I had to switch, and I literally switched on that young person and let them know, like, no, don't do that, man. Like, don't do that. Don't be that person towards me, because I'm never like that towards you. There's banter and then there's banter. But again, it was just showcasing to them that as an adult, I can be vulnerable as well. You see what I'm saying to you? So then now they remember that, like, nah, that's sir, you know what I mean? He's real. And even when I left that job, I left, and it was probably one of the most rewarding years of my life that I did at that school. I cried in front of all the young people. And I cried because I actually genuinely loved what I did. It just wasn't enough money for me. And they're like, nah, sir, man, you're real, you know. Like, you cried in front of everyone. I'm like, yeah, I didn't expect that still, but it's all good. So,
but like, even everything you've just said of that story, you got you switching on them was for a reason, and you did it in a way where it wasn't just you being malicious. Like, you were just making sure you're not a joke man to them.
Yeah,
and you crying wasn't just you being this emotional guy who's always crying.
I was actually gonna miss them.
Yeah, you actually showing genuine. I think that's more so masculinity rather than I'm just gonna fight everyone and be the strongest man.
That was me when I was younger. Always fighting, bare fights. 45 fights between year 7 and year 9. Didn't get excluded. I was a madman because I was just angry at life. But you know, I've evolved and I've put a lot of work into myself, especially the last 3 years. And it's so important with my son and also Mentivity, what I do. And it's just about pushing now and just pushing my own boundaries. You know, the work with the police, all these different things, things that people wouldn't otherwise think. Oh, you could do that. I think I can do anything. Like literally.
And I think that's the thing with Mentivity as well. Like you've built a bit. Not I wouldn't even call it. I'll say a business.
It is a business. So
yeah, you built a business.
It's two entities. There's a limited company
Okay.
and there's a community interest company.
Okay.
The limited company brings in the money from the local authorities, the schools and contracts, and then the CRC gets the donations. The charity is being formed now, so it'll be 3 strands of income, and then so I have technically 2 businesses with Mentivity, and then I have my own consultancy now.
Okay.
So that's
I thought
what
it was
do.
just a charity, but okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
well, we had charitable outcomes, but the limited company protects us from depending on funding. And that's where a lot of organisations then fall by the wayside. Like, oh, please, like, we need money. Like, I ain't on this begging thing. It's long. No, it's long. It's long.
That is, that's good. I think one more question I'll ask you in terms of Mentivity. So obviously, for a lot of those that do not know about Mentivity, you guys have recently just released your community hub.
Yeah.
And now I think it's every Wednesday you have
Youth Club. Yeah, so every Wednesday, so we're at 285 Albany Road. It used to be called Giraffe House, but we're calling it Mentivity Community Hub.
Yeah.
It's our interim, so our temporary home, till about May, June. But we run that every Wednesday, 4 to 7. We're partners. We partnered up with Melanin Lunchbox, so anyone that comes to the youth club will get a meal, a hot meal. So it could be jerk chicken, rice and peas. It could be veg option with rice, whatever. Maybe come, get yourself fed. There's a PS5, there's Xbox, there's a table tennis table. We're going to get the pool table sorted out, other little games. And also you can just come and just chill out. You know what I mean? Come and use the Wi-Fi, do what you want to do.
Yeah.
Use the space, read a book, whatever. It's a place and space for all. So after June, May, June, we'll be moving to our new premises. So that's a all-purpose built community centre on the Ellesbury estate. So I used to walk past it every day to go to school. And now I've got my own building, you know, through Mentivity, which is amazing. So we'll be doing a lot of stuff there. There will be yoga, mindfulness. There'll be self-defense. There'll be crypto club, book club, so many different things. Like 7 to 11,
100%.
7 a.m. to 11 p.m. every day. It'll be open. So that's what we're going to be doing. Events, exhibitions, everything.
Like, I'm not even a kid, but I'm gassed because I'm like, rah, I can do yoga, do a little
like,
Bitcoin, and
Can we Bitcoin?
Exactly.
I did yoga for an hour. My Bitcoin went up 100%.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh, that'll be an amazing day. The endorphins. Oh,
yeah,
bro,
listen,
that
it's
relief.
about that. Like I do yoga myself. I've been doing yoga. That's the thing. Doing things that I've never done before. Like yoga, mindfulness, meditation, like all that stuff goes to my mental health. Like yoga is sick. Like if you want to walk well in your 40s, 50s, after a career of playing football, yoga is what you need to do. Like so, it's about being outside of our comfort zone, redefining what a man from ends is, a boy from ends is, a girl from ends is, and bringing people that are coming into our community because you know what's going on, the regeneration. A lot of people coming from rural parts of the UK, got money, but they don't know about the community. So that's what the community center is going to be about: bringing people closer, intergenerational mentoring and dialogue, and supporting each other.
Yeah,
it's about
100%.
man.
I like that yoga thing as well because it's like it makes us like human beings. We're meant to live. We're meant to do different experience. We can't all just be this like one ends person. Like yes,
Exactly.
we it's our culture to a certain extent, but at the same time we all have different interests. Like Mids could be into Formula One. I could be into basketball.
Yeah,
we can all be into something different. We don't always have to all be into the same.
That same one mold is just like getting shipped out of the factory. Like boom, boom.
but that's the thing with yoga. Like people know the history. Yoga actually originated in Africa.
Oh, swear.
I thought it was a Buddhism thing.
No, they say that, but the thing is, most things originate from Africa. All these things, man. Like the thing is, what we've been taught is literally the tip of the iceberg. There's so much out there that has been destroyed, but it's coming to the fore now that you've got to read, you've got to watch, YouTube documentaries, you've got to learn and redefine what your reality looks like. And that's the key thing for Mentivity. It's about these guys that came on board would see the world and be looking down at the ground. That's all they would see, their locality. And what we did over time is that they lift up their head and they can see more, and they broaden their horizons. And that's what it's about. And seeing that glass ceiling and saying, you know what, it's only glass. I'm going to smash that. And we have to do that. We have to have that mentality. If men are not doing that and really uplifting our community, because women have been doing it for time. Black women have been doing it for ages.
100.
Black men just haven't been doing what they need to be doing on a holistic scale, and being consistent. And that's why it's so powerful and why people are like, oh, you're giving time and you're an educator and you do this and you do that. Like, this is standard for me. I'm a nurturer,
like I'm not even okay with what I'm gonna say. I don't want to come across like I'm boasting or I'm big headed or whatever. But I feel like because you guys you're from the ends, you've stayed in the ends, and you're doing work in the ends. It's not like certain people that like they're from the ends, they blow. And then they're off.
They're gone,
You know what I mean, you've stayed there and you've actually cared and nurtured for the people there. Like even with what you're saying about lifting your head up and that. When you met me, I didn't even know what apprenticeships was.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't
remember.
even know anything. I was just thinking I'm going uni and I'll figure it out. I was gonna do film studies in uni with a flipping physics, computer science, and maths A level. Does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? All I knew is that I'm going to uni.
Yeah.
I'm gonna figure it out then.
Yeah.
But you guys actually took the time to say, you know what? Look, you don't just have to go uni because your parents want you to go uni or because your mum.
I remember Tyson saying that to you as well. I remember.
Yeah.
I remember that, man.
And it's a thing where it's like, because they have taken their time. Tyson said to me, next week when I see you, you're going to have 5 companies that you want to do an apprenticeship for. I'm like, bro, you just told me what this is today. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
He wants you to keep dreaming, keep imagining, keep looking.
But also
Exactly.
to make him work. Like literally by giving him a deadline, it was like, when I see you next week, just like I said with the therapist, holding you accountable. A lot of young people are not used to being held accountable and having deadlines. It's like, okay, yeah, cool, because no one really believes in him. So that's what we used to do with these guys, set targets. But next week, have you achieved your target?
Because the thing is, in our community, we don't say this enough, but we all have ideas.
Yeah.
But it's the people who actually generate those ideas and make them into something that are the ones on the forefront, really.
Yeah.
So deadlines is really important because like it's just chaos energy if you're just this idea,
It's misplaced energy. Yeah. But that's the thing is like I never really saw myself as a creative, but I am. Like,
that's another thing we need to break. Like just because you can't sing or
but I create programs, I create opportunities, I do all these different things. But now, like obviously, because I run the Wall FC's football team as well, so I'm one of the coaches and one of the managers, and even that on the socials now, like getting involved in that post production and the captions for the Instagram and all these different things and that.
Making sure the picture looks nice.
Yeah, but you know what's mad though? Like now I edit my own videos for like what I put on Mentivity and on my own page. I'm like, cool. Look, this and that.
And I'm sure in like 20 years ago, if someone told you you're gonna edit videos, make content, you'd be like, do I look like
my name is
John Singleton or something?
I ain't Spike Lee, man. I don't wear Jordans and skinny legs.
Like, what are we doing here? Like,
no, it's important.
Just to like circle back to that, what I was saying, like even with that deadline, I'm not gonna lie to you. Next week I came back, I had 3. Yeah, he was like, "That's good," but I said 5.
Yeah.
And he made me stay and like think of 2 more companies. And
you said,
exactly.
These men used to be like, "Oh, this guy's gonna be on my case," because you know what will happen? It was like an intervention. Sometimes they come into the room and we hear what's going on and be like, "Yo, admit." What's wrong with you, bro? And then we on his case and like we'll kind of shame them into action sometimes.
That's the thing. Shame, obviously nowadays, like with the rise of like TV shows like Euphoria and stuff, we're taught not to be shamed of all these things. But sometimes shame, if it's used correctly and with love,
the best motivator.
It can be a very good motivator.
Because with them doing that, I'm like, you know, why did I do that, innit? Like I know I thought it was funny, but in the bigger picture, why did I actually do it? Do you know what I mean? And all those things sort of contributed to where I am now, where again, I don't want to boast, but last week I was in Downing Street having a conversation with the head of state of Secretary of State for Education. And we were talking about these sort of stuff.
Who is he? I don't even know who he is.
He does what he wants to let me.
I don't want to boast, but I was at Downing Street. I was at Downing Street.
Suited and booted and everything.
No, it's big, and that's what I'm talking about. Is that these are just people. They're just people. They're just like me and you. They have feelings, they have emotions, but the fact of the matter is that we're not taught to think that we can be better than them and to surpass them, and we can.
Like that, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be up to date with all of our releases and tune into a whole episode now on Spotify and Apple.